Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Taking a look at the Week 4 slate, and we have a SEC heavyweight matchup as the Arkansas Razorbacks head on the road to play an LSU team that we previewed the Mississippi State game about a week ago. And I was kind of saying, I get that Florida State loss got ugly at points, but this is an LSU team that, from a depth chart standpoint, from a talent standpoint, is one of the best teams in college football, and they certainly showed that against Mississippi State. That is about as clean of a performance we've seen LSU have on both sides of the football. And then Arkansas, a tough loss against BYU on paper. You dig into it a little bit. I mean, Arkansas outgained BYU 421 yards to 281. They played good at times. Now, we have some concerns, especially on the offensive side of the ball, that I want to talk about. This is still a solid Arkansas team. Sam Pittman said it in the presser, there was a lot of good takeaways that you can have, but you got to correct some things heading into LSU. Excited to get into the matchup. Now, before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys. The support for all these game breakdowns truly has been incredible. If you do enjoy the content, you want to support the boys, consider subscribing to the channel. But more importantly, the best part about doing this is hearing from you guys, learning from you guys in the comment section. Drop your keys to the game, your pick for this game. Appreciate you guys rocking with the boys like you do. And let's get into this matchup. And I want to start with Arkansas on the offensive side of the ball and some of the struggles that we're seeing. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the defense. We'll get into that in a little bit. But on offense, I mean, when you think about Sam Pittman in an Arkansas Razorback team, it's physicality on the offensive line, the ability to run the football. And you really haven't seen that from Arkansas through the first three games. And it kind of reared its ugly head against BYU, right? Losing on first down, getting yourself behind the chains, and then in pass protection. And I get Arkansas dealing with some injuries on the offensive line, shuffling some guys around. Sam Pittman noted that in the presser. That being said, I mean, KJ Jefferson is getting sacked on 10% of his dropbacks. That is one of the worst numbers you see across the country in terms of pass protection. And it's not going to get any easier against this LSU team. So you're talking about what we need to see from Arkansas in terms of going on the road and pulling off this upset. You got to see them, one, be able to run the football, not get behind the chains like you have, especially against BYU. And then second, you got to give KJ Jefferson some time. He's been sharp in the pocket. That being said, I mean, he is having to run for his life at times. And again, like I said, this LSU front seven, I said it in the offseason. I continue to think it now. It's one of the best in college football. Mekhi Wingo, Mason Smith, I think, are two of the best interior defensive linemen that you'll see. I think on the outside, guys like Savion Jones, I know Ovi's banged up, but if he's back, I mean, you have some serious pass rushers up front, and then you have a guy like Carol Perkins in the back end. It's not going to get any easier in terms of running the football in this LSU defense and in pass protection. If Arkansas wants to have some success on the road against LSU, they need to establish the run and start winning on first and second down, so you're not in these third and longs where LSU is really pinning the ears back, and you got to protect KJ a little bit better. For Arkansas, through the air, the numbers aren't bad, and I think they have some guys in that wide receiver room. I think Sam Pittman did a great job addressing it in the transfer portal. Tesla, Andrew Armstrong, I think they got a really good true freshman in Luke Haas. That being said, all those weapons are for naught if you can't keep KJ Jefferson clean, and that's probably the biggest struggle I see for Arkansas with this matchup, is I really do think this LSU front seven is dangerous. And then in LSU's back end, especially, I mean, LSU fans would probably agree with this. This is where you'd want to test LSU, is in that secondary. They're coming along. And you saw some young guys step up against the Mississippi State team. Will Rogers, what I think is one of the better SEC quarterbacks you'll see, 11 of 28. I mean, they couldn't get anything going through the air. I think this LSU secondary, and we've kind of said this, the more reps it gets, the more continuity and kind of time they play together, it's going to come together. They have a ton of talent back there, and I thought that was their best performance we've seen this year. This LSU defense kind of coming along in a big way. Now, I don't want to ignore what we saw from the LSU Tigers on Saturday against Mississippi State on the offensive side of the ball. Jayden Daniels, probably his most comfortable, best performance we've seen wearing an LSU helmet, 30 of 34, 361 yards. And my biggest takeaway is, and we say this all the time, having a quarterback wide receiver battery that is elite is massive for teams. You see teams win national championships because of that quarterback wide receiver chemistry. I think you're seeing something like that emerge with JD and Malik Neighbors. And we said this going in. I mean, this LSU wide receiver room is elite, but Malik Neighbors is one of the best wide receivers that you see across the country. And to see Jayden Daniels and Malik Neighbors kind of put that together, that's really special. I think they can still run the football. Again, really good offensive line. I thought they played well against a Mississippi State defense that don't overlook that Mississippi State team. Yeah, they have some struggles. They're going through some identity changes on the offensive side of the ball, obviously with Mike Leach no longer coaching the team. That being said, that defense under Coach Arnett is still really good, and LSU diced them up all game. I mean, Malik Neighbors' stat line, 13 catches for 239 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's absolutely insane. Really, really impressive from what you saw there. Run game, Logan Diggs kind of emerging as that running back one. We got to get some more touches to Caleb Jackson, though. You talk about some physicality, running the football. True freshman Caleb Jackson, I think, is going to continue to work. And again, staple of running backs, you're kind of seeing who's going to emerge. I think we're getting our answer for the LSU Tigers. And then Arkansas on the defensive side of the ball. This is the best Arkansas defense that we've seen under Sam Pittman. I truly believe that, much better than it was last year. I think the front seven, really, really good. Landon Jackson emerging as one of the better defensive linemen in the SEC. They're allowing only 1.7 yards per carry to opposing teams. And again, they were good against BYU, only 281 total yards given up. Jaheim Thomas at that linebacker, Chris Paul Jr., really, really good group. This Arkansas defense, I think, can maybe slow down LSU on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, my bigger question mark and kind of a nice segue to getting into the pick is this Arkansas offense needs to stay on the field and needs to kind of establish that running game, because this is not an offense that you want kind of just aerating it out. And I don't know if they have the elite end wide receivers. I mean, this offense is built, this identity, this team is built on establishing the run, being physical. Obviously not having Rocket Sanders hurts, but I think a lot of the struggles are up front on that offensive line. Getting into the pick, it's really hard. I mean, this is a lot of points, right? LSU at home, 18-point favorites. From what you've seen the last couple of weeks, right? I think this is an LSU team that you'd want to ride. Am I going to go hammer LSU to cover 18 points? No, because I think this Arkansas team is pretty quality. That being said, you're asking me to pick this game. Who's going to win this game? Really hard to look at what you saw against LSU on the road at Mississippi State in Starkville last weekend and pick against this LSU team. It was one of my picks. They were a top 5 team coming into preseason. I think you're starting to see that top 5 team. And we said, once this team kind of comes together and starts hitting their stride, it's one of the best teams in college football. And I think against Mississippi State, you certainly saw that. If Arkansas can get that run game going and then work into the pass game, I am a little bit more optimistic of Arkansas keeping this one close and staying in this game. But if you continue to see the struggles running the football and the struggles keeping KJ Jefferson clean in the pocket, it could be a really long day for Arkansas. So my eyeballs will be on the offensive line for Arkansas. Can they come together? Can that unit kind of start clicking? It's going to be the biggest storyline for Arkansas, but I think LSU wins this one at home. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys as usual. Would love to hear from you guys in the comment section. Again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate y'all, and we'll talk to you guys later.